Hello again, fellow audiophiles. I am Wave Theory, and today we are looking at these, the Effect Audio Code 23 and Code 24, let's call them transducer cables, because these are available in both IEM and headphone cable versions. Effect Audio reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to review their Code series cables, because I do hear differences in cables, and we can debate as to whether or not that's right or wrong, but I hear them, and so I like to play around with cables. So Effect Audio reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to check these out? And I said, yes, let's make them the headphone version because I am more of a headphone listener than an IEM listener. And they said, okay. So here's what we have. This is the Code 23, which for the IEM version has a starting price of $599 US. And for the headphone version, which you see here, has a starting price of $799 US. The Code 24, the IEM version has a starting price of $799 US, and the headphone version has a starting price of $999 US. Effect Audio has not made any attempt to influence my opinion on these. I don't get to keep these just as donations to the channel or anything to my knowledge. Right now, there is a 15% sale across Effect Audio's website on everything but their flagship model. So these are included in the sale of 15% off for Effect Audio's 15th anniversary. So congratulations to them to making it 15 years. Additionally, there is a 10% discount if you use a code from watching my video that I will put down in the description. So check that out. And Effect Audio just told me a little bit after that that 10% will go to me. So that's just like kind of an affiliate link kind of thing at that point if you use that discount code. So please consider using that if you're interested in buying these. But I promise to give you as fair and thorough and as unbiased a review as I can humanly do moving forward. So let's do shameless self-promotion, and then we'll jump into like why these are priced the way they are, what they're made of, and then of course what they sound like. Here we go.
Hello. I'm one of the reasons that Wave Theory can't spend all of his money on audio gear. He wants you to know that your support is vital for keeping the channel running. So if you enjoy Wave Theory's bussin' review riz and no-cap review style and want to encourage him to stay in the basement so I don't have to listen to his dad jokes as much, like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can also send him a donation on PayPal or sign up for the Patreon. Links are in the description. Now on to the review.
All right, the Code 23 here is a pure oxygen-free copper solid core. Now there are 12 different what they call core bundles, which I interpret to mean there are 12 different diameter sizes of the individual copper threads that are in there, and then 12 different bundles on that, and that equates to a full wire size of 16.5 AUG. Okay, so it's definitely heavy for an IEM cable if you go the IEM route. Okay, the Code 24 is a silver-plated solid core copper conductor. It has 13 different core size bundles in it, and also tops out at a 16.5 AUG gauge there. So that's the material inside these things, and it's not cheap material. These headphone versions here, I think, are about 1.5 meters long by default, and they are more expensive than the IEM version because they are a little bit longer, which means you have to pay for more material. Okay, but we have, let's see, what kind of connector type is this? There is no name on it, but we have 4-pin XLR, and there are different options for the amp termination here on the headphone version. Just about any kind of termination you need, you can order on their website. Then we have this, like, you can see the individual threads inside there where we have this sort of translucent, okay, I'm not sure what material this is on the outside, but you can kind of see through it, and it's also got this dark color to it. So it's the wire is twisted together there, all right, as you go through, and then we have this nice little, okay, joint right here, or like, what do they call this thing? Anyway, where the wire splits. Well made there, and then we have this sliding bit right here, so you can tighten it around your head if you want. And then this one, they sent me the dual 3.5 millimeter version on the headphone end, and you see that we have pretty thin barrels here. So these will fit into most recessed jack headphones out there, I imagine. I don't have a huge number to try, but it seems like they will fit into most recesses. Okay, and so then roughly how the cable is made here. Now the code 24 on the outside is made all pretty much identically. You can't really see, I guess you actually can slightly see through the insulating material on the outside. You can see the individual threads in there, but this one is also the balanced version. I got this nice blue color. I again went XLR here. And then, okay, same kind of thing at the fork here with, does this have the slider deal on it? Oh, not that I see at the moment. Oh, it probably is. That pops out. There it is. Yep, it's got the slider deal on it. So that's well done. Okay, this one I got the 2.5 millimeter version on because my cable that I had been using on my custom rebuilt Fostex TH900 Mark II, I redid the terminations on that to accept 2.5 millimeters, so I didn't have to buy those proprietary Fostex cables all the time, a much more common connector type here. And the cable that I was using for that headphone died, so I'm like, hey, terminate one of these in dual 2.5 and I can check it out on that headphone, and I might consider buying it. And I'm really strongly considering that. We'll see how it goes. Okay. So more on that later, but you can see they are built basically the same, and it's a quality build. The only thing that I might be able to complain about is that it does have a little bit of memory, like the vinyl, plasticky, rubbery, whatever kind of material the insulating material is a little bit stiff, but it's not bad, right? Like it's standing up off the desk a little bit here, you can see, okay? But I've dealt with far stiffer headphone cables. It's not bad, and you can like see with the Code 24 how they both like coil up really nice and lay pretty flat. So it's got a little bit of memory, but never to the point where it bothered me. Okay, so that's out there. But otherwise, it is a very well made and good looking cable. Okay, I think. But let's get to the meat of it, huh? And talk about sound, because I'm sure that's what we're here for. All right, test gear real quick. What headphones did I try these with? The Code 24 was basically exclusively on the Fostex TH900 Mark II with the Lawton Purple Heart chambers that I just mentioned, because that is currently my only dual 2.5 millimeter headphone that I have on hand at the moment. So that one got used there. This one, the Code 23, I have a lot more options to use with. So this one got used with the HiFiMan Susvara, HiFiMan HE1000 SE, Biodynamic DT880 600 ohm, which I have personally detachable cable modded so that it can accept dual cable entry like this, and then also my Focal Radiance. Anyway, got some time on this one too. So 4 different headphones to try on this one. So my reports on sound are going to be more confident on the Code 23, just because I heard that across a wider cross-section of headphones than I do on the Code 24. So let's start there, and then I will make some comments on the 24. So my thoughts here on the Code 23. Smooth. Okay. One of the standout features to me on this one is just how smooth and also how quiet it is. Like the sonic background on this headphone just like almost disappears. We're like, it's very, very quiet. It is very, very clean, and it is very, very smooth. Okay, the copper does mean that it has a warmer tonality to it. You get lots of bass. There's good bass impact. The treble is smooth and well tonally balanced, and the top end is rolled off a little bit. So if you are treble sensitive and sibilance gets to you a lot, this would be a good cable in its price range to consider, because it does smooth out that treble quite a bit and actually bring down the actual treble presence up in there and all that. So like tracks that I know of that have a lot of sibilance in them, this one like kind of smooths them out a bit and makes them more listenable and less fatiguing. Now, that doesn't mean that it lacks detail. There is still very good detail and excellent spatial holography going on through this headphone cable as well. So like nothing is missing because that treble is brought down. It's just presented in a more relaxed, laid back kind of way, but just a very smooth, clean, okay, and like just quiet background kind of sound on this one. Lots of sub bass presence, lots of sub bass dynamic impact on it, so lots of slam and that kind of thing, and a very good, very smooth treble tonality pulled back a little bit overall. Okay, and that was across headphones on here. That's just the way this thing sounds. All of the headphones that I tried with, all 4 of those that I named, responded in that way to this cable here. So the cable definitely does something. All right. On my Fostex headphone right here, which those Fostex TH900 series headphones can be really picky, and they can be very cable picky in addition to being amp picky, and mine took very well to the Code 24. This one is brighter in its sound because you got that silver plating on there. So the treble still has excellent tonal balance, but there's a little bit more presence than there is to this one. So this cable has a slightly brighter overall presentation than the Code 23 does, but that's because more of the treble energy is getting through. Now, that said, it still is very tonally smooth and very well tonally balanced up top. There's just going to be more of it, a little bit brighter kind of sound. The mid-range on this one is also very smooth, and that can be a trouble spot for those TH900s as well, to smooth that out very well. And this one probably, I'm going to say probably, is not quite as dynamically impactful as the all-copper Code 23 is, but it's not far behind. It's a little bit harder to tell because those Fostex are going to be dynamically impactful no matter what you do, so that they're going to slam the heck out of your head regardless of what you plug them into pretty much. But I did get the sense that the bass was just a little bit more pulled back in relation to like what this one would do through that as well. But the overall smoothness, even though this one is brighter, that overall smoothness, cleanliness, and that dark sonic background are all present in this one. You just get a little bit more detail retrieval, probably. Again, I can't do a direct comparison. A little bit more detail retrieval, you get that little bit more treble presence in there. And so this one just has like a more neutral kind of sound to it, where this one is more warm. Okay? All right. So those are the sounds of these two things like on their own. They are very good. I do want to make a quick comparison between the Code 23 and the Lavricables Grand Silver for the Hi-Fi Min line that has the dual 3.5 millimeter cable on it and is also XLR. This one goes for about $615 US as currently configured. So it is a little bit cheaper than the Code 23 is, and it's also a silver conductor where this one is a copper. So the sound here, again, different profiles. This one, the Lavricables, is going to be brighter. It's got the silver in it, so it's got more treble energy in it and maybe just slightly less impactful bass on it than these do. But if you like treble, this one's going to let a little bit more through. This one then is not as graceful when tracks go sibilant as the Code 23 is. So this one can also get a little bit more fatiguing with more tracks a little bit quicker than the Code 23 does. All right. Detail retrieval on these two I thought was pretty much a dead heat. I honestly could not hear any more details coming out of the slightly more expensive Code 23 than I did out of the Lavry Grand Silver. However, the sound stage on the Code 23 is a little bit wider, a little bit bigger presentation, okay? And then it's also smoother, like again, just smooth, warm and smooth comes to mind on this one. The Lavry is not smooth. It's just not as smooth in its presentation as this one. And then again, it comes across as a little bit brighter. So I think what you're paying for if you step up to the Code 23 over the Grand Silver here is, one, you're getting a warmer and less fatiguing profile. You're getting a little bit wider soundstage. You're getting a little bit more overall smoothness in this one than you are from the Grand Silver. If you want the smoothness of this one, okay, with the sonic profile from a frequency response standpoint of this one, and a little bit more detail retrieval, then spend a little bit more money yet, and you can have the best of both worlds here with the Code 24. All right. But those are my thoughts on these. So, like, are these price appropriate? I think so. This one, again, like if you're looking for raw detail retrieval here at this price, it's probably not the best way to go. It's not poor in the detail retrieval by any sense of the imagination. But you could probably find a little bit more detail exacting kind of cable in this price range. But smooth, clean, quiet, warm, and impactful. Definitely the strengths, and then a big soundstage. Okay, definitely the strengths here. The Code 24 comes back in for like $200 more than the Code 23. You get the added treble energy and the added detail retrieval that comes through in there, but you still maintain the smoothness of the sound and all of that. And this one is not quite as forgiving with sibilant tracks as the Code 23, but again, it's also pretty smooth and non-fatiguing over long listens too, even with that Fostex TH900. So yeah, I think they can be price appropriate in there if they are of interest to you. So if you are interested there, then please consider until May 14th of 2024 using the discount code that is down in the description for you to save money and for me to get a little bit of a kickback on there. But I will say, like, this one's still pretty good. Okay, the Lavricables still pretty good. So I'm not just trying to sell you on this to get me money. I'm just trying to give you an honest assessment that yes, these are very good headphone cables. They are in some ways superior to this one, and in other ways maybe not, but I do think they are worth their money. So I am Wave Theory. Thanks for watching. Please comment on this video if you haven't, like if you have not yet, subscribe to the channel if you have not yet, check out my PayPal, my Patreon, and look for ways that you can support the channel going forward. And again, check out the discount code for an extra 10% off for you in the description down below. All right, thanks again for watching, and enjoy the music.